We're going to be combining all the properties. When we're looking at our first example, what we have are two different properties here. One is multiplication, the other one is exponents. With order of operations, we do the exponents first. So we're going to distribute the 2 to each of the parts. And then what we have is x, y to the third. And then we're going to multiply x to the 6th, y to the 10th. Now remember, when we multiply, we add the exponents. 1 plus 6 is 7, and 3 plus 10 is 13. For the second one, notice that the exponents, here we have a 0, which is 1. Here we have a squared, so we're going to distribute that to each part. And that gives us 1 times 3 squared, x squared, y to the 12th. 3 squared is 9. Then we have x squared and y to the 12th. For the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to distribute each of the exponents to each of the parts. So we have 2 to the third, x to the 9th, y to the 33rd. Then we have x to the negative 10th and y to the 8th. 2 to the third is 8. We're going to add the exponents. So 9 plus negative 10 gives us negative 1. And 33 plus 8 gives us 41. Now, because we have a negative exponent means that we bring it down. So instead of it being in the numerator, it's now in the denominator. So we have 8y to the 41st over x. And that right there is our answer. Let's do a few more. With letter D, we see that anything to the 0 is 1. And we distribute the 3 to each part. That would be x cubed and y to the 12th. And of course, if we multiply that by 1, it stays the same. For the next one, we're going to distribute the 3 to each part. We're going to bring down the 3x to the 5th y, and then that gives us 3 cubed, x to the 27th, and y to the 15th. 3 cubed is 27, and if we multiply that by 3, that gives us 81. We add the exponents. 5 plus 27 is 32, and 1 plus 15 is 16. And looking at letter F, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the exponents, and we're going to distribute it to each part. So we have x to the 28th, y to the 16th. We have 2 to the third, x to the 24th, and y to the 6th. 2 to the third we know is 8. 28 plus 24 gives us 52. 16 plus 6 gives us 22. Now let's look at a few different types of problems. Instead of multiplying, we're going to be dividing. Now with this right here, because the dividing is inside the parentheses, order of operations, we're going to do parentheses first, and then we're going to do exponents. With the dividing, since it's inside the parentheses, there are more x's on the bottom, so we put the x on the bottom. There are more y's on the bottom, so we put the y on the bottom. Then what we do is we square it. When we square it, 1 squared is 1, x squared is x squared, and y squared is y squared. With letter B, same thing. We're going to simplify the inside. 4 6 reduces to 2/3. The negative exponent, remember, we bring to the top, and it becomes a positive 4. 3 plus 4 gives us 7. The negative switch, so that's really y to the 5th over y to the 3rd. There's more y's on top, and that would be 2 more. Now, because the whole thing is raised to the negative 1, remember a negative exponent switches everything. So the 3 is now in the numerator, and the numerator is now in the denominator. Looking at letter C, we're first going to simplify the inside. So when we're looking at this, there are more x's on the bottom, and there's more y's on the top. We're going to cube it. So that means we're going to distribute to each of them. So that right there would be y to the 6th and x to the 15th. Looking at letter D, once again, we're going to simplify inside the parenthesis. So what we have is 4/5. The negative exponent goes up. We're going to add 4, and that gives us 6. The negative exponent goes down, and that gives us y to the 12th. Next thing that we're going to do is we see that it's a negative exponent. Negative means that we flip it. So the numerator now becomes the denominator, and the denominator now becomes the numerator. So we have 5y to the 12th, 4x to the 6th. Now we're going to square it. 5 squared is 25, y to the 24th, 4 squared is 16, and then x to the 12th.